Famed, of course, for my unique red skin and unparalleled skills as a general of the House of War, I, the Red Prince, was raised within the vast palaces of the fabled Forbidden City. I was destined to become the next emperor. But my ambitions suffered a bit of a setback when I fell from grace for cavorting with demons. Now, I'm exiled and hunted by assassins. But I assure you, I remain undaunted and as determined as ever to claim my rightful throne.
I used to be a slave, kept under the thumb of the master, the bastard that made me hunt down my own kin. How did he do that, you ask? With the living scar you see on my cheek, this horror that takes no more than a song sung by Master Dearest to control my very thoughts. But now the tables have turned. I broke my shackles, and when I finally find him, I will make the master sing a very different kind of song.
Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of death fog against the Black Ring, annihilating everyone I once knew in the process. Now I'm a mercenary killer, one of the infamous Lone Wolves. And my next target is none other than Lucian's own son.
I was just thinking about someone I used to know. My cousin, the Queen, in fact. A tyrant. I tried to stop her, but things don't always go according to plan. She cast me out to a forgotten island, and made short work of my allies, too. Lucky for me, I was able to commandeer a ship, and began a new life for myself, out on the high seas. Aye, but I hear that the Queen is at it again, and there's something darker behind her madcap schemes this time. If I don't stop her, I don't know who will.
All my life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1, find out who or what is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2, make it sorry it ever tried.
Oh, don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world. Trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, The monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Aren't you a curious sight? If I'd had a mask to hide my bones as well as yours, maybe I'd still be walking around today. Where'd you get it? There can't be many curios like that in the world. Is that a fact? And your voice? You ripped that from them too. I've never heard such silken tones from a naked skull. Ha! Should have known it was a parlor gimmick. Still, you'd best keep that mask on. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
And now you are
Boring.
silent. If only all humans were so thoughtful. An animal sty. Freight or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With
Did you expect a needle? Did you expect a needle?
Good thing I needn't worry about splinters. Empty.
Empty.
Fasten tight.
You there? Come here. Hey, get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of, just dragged me down here. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. A gentleman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
Before you can even touch the lever, you hear a sniff and snort behind you as the snoring Magister mumbles himself awake.
Is my shift over? You here? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy scrounger? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Clever story. I almost fell for it. Almost. I should have known there'd be trouble.
So much for a peaceful stroll.
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his gaze finds the sunken hollows that once held your eyes.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lad. Say your prayers while you've...
What would he have to gain by killing me? Strange forces are at work. Junk.
And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like... Empty. Empty.
Everything's spick and span. Nothing left to do, really. There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time.
Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to sauce. For good. Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves, don't they?
She frowns and peers at you closely, concern clearly etched upon her face.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those sauce spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cover your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
No.
Good gods, there's been a
young
murder here.
Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. Move along.
No lesions, no trauma. It was
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at...
Easy now. Why don't you move along? Get some fresh air. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. Aren't you enterprising? I'll let Waters tell you no herself. Go ahead. She with the...
ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Not in here, it isn't. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this, no lesions, no trauma. He would so. Anything interesting for me? I'll take that as a no.
She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
It was one of them. I know it.
Oh, there you are. Wife.
You look like my daddy. His name is Frida. He's waiting for me.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet.
How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
That knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Name?
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you...
Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, mate. We're trying to catch a killer here.
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to
Well,
listen.
well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I always knew you'd turn up rotten, Ben Mest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
I'm inspecting your teeth, in case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Yes, well, I'll count that as a no, shall I? On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
Got this wolf on a...
Just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
I'll have you know that threatening one's master is punishable by death. You'll never attain the rank of slave with manners such as that. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine.
Quiet long enough for me to listen.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind...
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen
A
more
broad
appetizing-
dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you.
And?
Never thought you'd end up in prison, convict.
That right. I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Nest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger. It's...
He cocks his ear to the other side, then...
anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that. Squeak! Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means, pardon my beard. That means, if we've been travelling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me. You clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Nest. Your kind always hung close.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you.
You've got this wolf on a leash now.
Soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Did you see the body? They ought to let you taste a bit. Maybe you'd find out who done it.
That's enough now.
It was one of them. I know it.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he...
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay is...
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago.
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe
Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Not eager to bow before the great Bishop Alexander, son of the divine himself. My sentiments exactly. But Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You!
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name!
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
Mad? Insufferable, surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Here's the register, ma'am. Good, good. Magister Williams has just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
There's nothing else I can read, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, ma'am, but we all wear what we wear for a reason.
There has been a murder.
You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God! The woman's mad! You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan! We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
Happening?
No time for chatter. We've got to get out of here.
The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor. His great beard... You hear a faint thud, thud. Ivan lies motionless. His eyes... Ivan cries out. Then... lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound. The Magister lies on the floor.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. Damn it! I need to get off this wreck, and quick.
Damn. That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards. Human's chief, Alexander. A curious name, but no more bizarre than anything else that species does.
Recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and it doesn't budge. The moment you touch the door, grayness seeps into your bones.
means there's still a chance.
Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
Said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
There's a ladder right over there. You can...
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear? Had to open you in the mouth, didn't you?
Never need.
Wait, Void Woken.
These beardless bugs would sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
they who are about to triumph.
Prepare yourself.
I've faced worse.
We make a pretty good team.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Must look a mess. Like my ship was attacked and sunk by Voidwoken.
I dare say we should move before your aroma attracts some more.